Hello, everyone. Welcome. Just going to take a minute for me to get everybody in here. Thank you so much for joining. If you're joining, which obviously you are, can you let me know if you can hear me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up? I can see some of your videos, or let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. Yep. Okay. Awesome. 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 And then also, I would love for you to let me know where you're joining from, what your type is, and if you want to let me know a gate you're excited to learn about, if there's anything specifically, let me know. I'm Katie. You probably all know that. I'm from Toronto. I'm a 2-4 emotional manifester. I love all the gates. I feel like I go through phases of particularly loving on some of them, but I'm excited to see where you guys are at, where you're from. 61 and 62. Okay, cool. We'll get to 61 today, not 62 though. 1-3 projector from Vancouver. I was just in Vancouver for the holidays. So lovely. Got snow. Oh my gosh, for Christmas. So wild. Peterborough 2-4 emotional projector. A 4-1 emotional manifester. Very cool. From Surrey, BC, and manifester as well. Oh, hi, Lou. A 2-4 generator in Atlanta. Pacific Northwest, I think, is PNW. Is that what that means? 1-3 emotional manifester. I'm Canadian, so sorry. I don't know all the terms. Oh, hey, Will, good to see you. Val is an MG51. Very cool. From Wales, I've been to Wales. 2-4 projector, gate 1. We'll cover that one today too. 1-3 splenic projector living in Mexico. 3-5 splenic projector from Ottawa. I was supposed to go to Ottawa this year, but I have family there, but we don't need to talk about what's going on in the world right now. Emotional generator, 2-4 from Brazil. Small town, Ontario. Okay, cool, Alex. 1-3 generator from Australia. Ooh, welcome. A 3-6 reflector in Montreal. Oh my gosh, so many people. Oh my God, there's 50 more messages. Okay, I'm not going to read through them all. That's a lot. I'm so excited to have all of you on here joining. The gates are truly one of my favorite things to talk about and to teach about. And so that's what we're going to get into today. I'm a little bit distracted because there's still a bunch of people joining. I wish I could have them just automatically join, but then you have to have a password, and I find passwords in Zoom to just be annoying, I don't know if you guys feel that, but I do. So we're going to do a little bit of an intro to start off with, an intro to the bootcamp of what to expect, what things are going to be like. Talk a little bit about how to find the gates and what we're looking at, just very quickly, in case we have some new people to human design. And I'm curious, actually, how long have you been into human design? If you're here, is it a month? Are you new? Are you into human design for years now? Let me know kind of what you're at. A year, 2 to 3 years, 2 years, just a few months, 9 months, new. Oh my gosh, so many things. Okay, cool. Very cool. So many, yeah. So lots of new people and lots of people that have been there for a little while too. Oh, Gwen, hi, I just saw you as well. Oh my gosh, so many people. This is wild. I'm so excited to see you all and to be here with you all. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit just very quickly how to find the gates. I have a workbook for you. So if you haven't downloaded it already, the link is in the email I sent you. It's also in the Facebook group. I will put it in the chat in a couple of minutes, just when more people get in here. And yeah, so you can download that. You don't need to, but if you're unfamiliar with the gates or with the circuitry, which a lot of people are, then it might be easier to just have the workbook to help you kind of organize yourself. And I'll show you why in just a second. Then we're going to talk about the gates. So today we are going into all of the individual gates. And the way that I teach the gates is by circuit, which is annoying as heck because it means they don't go in numerical order. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, it's annoying, but it makes sense in a different way, just not in the numerical way. And I hated it when I was learning it, but it really does make a lot of sense, and it helps you, I believe, to understand the gates in a better way. I also want to preface this by saying I'm going to do my best to share what I can with you about the gates. We only have about probably an hour and a half together. So there's only so much I can talk about trying to cover 20 gates in that amount of time. But I'm going to do my best. And I would love to keep this conversation going in the Facebook group afterwards. So if you have questions about the gates, if you have stories you want to share, because one of my favorite ways of learning human design is through other people's experiences. So if you have like an aha moment when we talk about gate 43, or how it shows up for you, or how you experience it, or a challenge you have with it or something, please make a post in the Facebook group and share, and just do like a hashtag gate whatever, because I think that will tag it, and so it'll make it easier to find and to search gates if you're curious of a certain gate and you want to hear other people's experiences. So I think that'll be really cool. All right. So with that being said, like I said, today, that's what we're going to go through. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the tribal circuitry and tribal gates. And then, is that true? Yeah. And then on Wednesday, we're going to talk about the collective ones. There's a lot of collective gates. So, I mean, there's a lot of individual gates as well. So we'll see how the timing goes. That's the rough plan. On Thursday, if there's any gates left over that we need to cover, we'll talk about that. But we'll also sort of tie more things together, tie in the planets a little bit of how you can help yourself understand those and how they go together with the gates. We'll look at some conflicts with circuitry. And if you could all just try to keep yourself muted, that would be lovely. If not, I'll be muting you just so we don't have background noise. If you do have questions, honestly, there's a lot of people on. I don't know that I'm going to see them all as they're coming, but we will have time for questions at the end. So if you have questions, probably better to save them at the end, and then I'll be able to actually look at them and read them all. And yeah, okay, with all that being said, let's get started. So what I really like about the gates and what gates are, actually, hold on, let me back up 1 second, because probably not all of you know me. So if you're new to me, hi, so nice to meet you all. I'm Katie. I am a 2/4 emotional manifester. I live in Toronto currently. I'm moving to Mexico for the winter on Saturday, so I'm very excited to get some warm weather. I've been in the human design world for about 4 and a bit years now. I run an online program called HD School, so I teach human design. Lots of my students are here, so hi, so good to see your faces. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask at some point later, but that's kind of what I do. Human design is just something I've become obsessed with. It's completely changed my life. And so I love being able to share it with people. And on that vein, the gates were something that were really transformational for me as I learned them. I was someone that really didn't see a lot of good qualities in myself, and I also saw a lot of bad qualities in myself. And what the gates are really helpful for me is that it helped me to see a lot of the strengths and the great qualities that I do actually have. And it helped me to see the challenges that I have built into my design, which we'll talk about as we go through the gates. And it really helped me to like be at peace with what was, where it's like, oh, I'm not a bad person because I'm struggling with this. This was literally like plopped into my life plan as something that's going to be a potential challenge for me. So I'm right on track if I'm struggling with this particular area, right? So the gates are really helpful in understanding myself in that context. Also, they really helped me to stop comparing myself so much to other people, because there are certain things that I see in other people that are so great. And now it's like, oh yeah, I can see that that's like this gate energy and they have this and they're living it out. And I don't, I'm not supposed to. It would be wrong for me to be that way. So it was really helpful for me to focus on myself, to focus on my strengths. And it also really helped me to trust the experiment of human design more, because I know it's a little wild sometimes to just be like, trust your strategy and authority. Because like, what the hell, you know? It doesn't always make a lot of sense. But when you have the understanding of the gates in your design as well, it makes it a lot easier, because when you have these, you know, for me as a manifester, I get urges to do certain things or to go in certain directions. And when I can see how that makes sense with my gates, and now listen, you don't need to mentally make sense of all of the things, just follow your strategy and authority, you know, but sometimes it can make the scarier things a little bit easier to trust. So that's that, I think, for the intro. Let me just share my screen very quickly so I can show you where to get your body graph if you don't already have it. There's a lot of different places. I have a new little option on my website that is still working out the kinks of it. But if you go to sortofspiritual.com/bodygraph, I just put the link in the chat. It will, hold on, let me make this look better for you. So if you go here, you'll be able to get a body graph that looks like this. So when you have this for your gates, this is your gates. Sorry, let me move this over here. Can you guys see my screen okay? Like there's nothing weird in the way? We see your desktop. Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know that. Stop sharing. What am I trying to do here? Desktop 2. Do you see, what do you see now? Do you see like the internet and yes? Yes, okay, cool, perfect. Okay, so when you go to sortofspiritual.com/bodygraph, you can get your body graph looks like this. You can go to mybodygraph.com. You can go to geneticmatrix.com, whatever you want to use. Something that's going to give you your chart. You probably already have it. And then when you download the Gates workbook, so this is just going to help you understand the circuitry, which is going to be more useful, honestly, for day 4, but it can be helpful. So basically uncheck the things that are already there and then just go through gate by gate. So for example, I have gate 45, I have gate 26, I have gate 22, whatever, etc. Right? So go through and check off all the gates that you have and then just count them up at the bottom of like how many of each you have, let's say, okay? So you can do that. Make sure you save this to your desktop. If you do it on your internet browser for the workbook, it won't save. And then if you'd like, you can write notes for the circuitry, so the themes of individuality we're going to talk about today. You can note down your gates. You can write notes if you want. So that's just there to help you organize your things a little bit better. Just counting the ones listed in the left and right columns. Yes, exactly. So you're only going to click on the gates that are in the that are in these 2 columns here. You're going to have all 64 numbers on your body graph, but it's only the ones that are highlighted that we want to look at. And so the easiest place to do that is by looking at these 2 columns. And it's totally normal to have duplicates, triplicates, quadruplicates, I don't know, of gates. Sometimes gates will show up multiple times in your design. So that's totally normal. Don't worry about that if that happens. You don't need to double count them or anything, but it'll just, yeah, just go through and check them off that way. Do we have more people that are trying to join? Yes, okay. So once you have that, again, you don't have to do this right now. This is going to be more helpful for day 4, but you can. Can you write the link on where to find this? This is in the Facebook group. It's in the email that I sent you, and I'll just put the link there as well. Oh, I did that to waiting room participants. What the heck? Sorry, I need to, everyone in meeting. The waiting room people are going to be like, what? Okay, there we go. So that is to get the workbook. This is a link to get your body graph. So you should have the links that you need, but they're in the Facebook group. They're in the email that I sent you as well. So hopefully you're all set when it comes to that. I wouldn't include Chiron personally, Nikki. You can if you want. The reason I say that I wouldn't is because Chiron doesn't define channels or it doesn't create channels in human design. And so it like, I like to look at Chiron kind of as like a phantom gate where it's there, but it's not. So that's kind of what I think. Do what you want though. If you're like, well, I really want to include Chiron, cool, do it. There's not necessarily like a right or wrong way, but I don't when I do this, but you're welcome to if it's something that you want to do. Okay, so we have this. So let's now, I showed you the workbook, that's good. And then we can go and look at what I want to look at here. There we go. The circuitry. So I want to talk about circuitry for a minute. And you might be like, Katie, you said we were going to learn gates. What is this? Why are you tricking us? Like I said, the circuitry is really going to help you to understand the gates and the energy behind them. So we're not going to go too deep into it, but I just want to do a little bit of an overview. So this might be new to you or not. Let me know in the chat. Do you know circuitry? Do you understand circuitry? Is this like, I've never heard of this before. What are you talking about? Cool. Erin says new to me, new. I've heard of this, new. Yeah. Okay. So new to a lot of people. Yeah. Know it, but don't understand it. Yeah, totally. Some people are familiar. Cool. Okay, awesome. Lots of different levels of experience here. So when we're looking at circuitry, for this bootcamp, I'm more or less going to ignore the integration channels, not entirely, but I'm just going to put them into the sort of container of individuality. It's not the correct way to do it. It's not entirely true, but we only have so much time to work with. So that's what we're going to do. So today we're going to look at all of the individual gates, but you can see when we're looking at the integration channels that they share gates with individual circuitry. So because we're talking about circuitry and gates, we're just going to talk about individuality. And so there's 3 different main circuits. We have the individual, which is what we're going to cover today. We have the tribal, which we'll cover tomorrow, and the collective, which we'll talk about on Wednesday. And so you can see all of these channels that go into each circuit. So each gate falls into these channels. Basically, when it comes to circuitry, if you imagine that we are like a circuit board, like electronics, right? We have circuits of energy inside of us. They're made up of groups of channels. And like I said, there's 3 major circuits. Each major circuit has 2 minor circuit groups. And the integration channels are not technically a circuit, like I said. We're not going to get into the minor circuit groups right now, because like I said, this is meant to be about the gates. This isn't meant to be about circuitry, but I just think organizing them through the circuitry, helping you understand your circuitry, is going to be helpful. How do you know which circuitry you have, or do you have all 3? We will talk about that on day 4, the circuitry piece, because you could have all 3. You likely have gates in all 3, but the channels and the gates are sort of different components of it. So we'll talk about that more on Thursday. Okay, so individuality. When we're looking at the individual circuitry, and all of the gates that we're going to talk about today are going to be gates that are individual gates, this is really about individuality, about yourself, right? There's a keynote of empowerment. So all of these energies are designed for empowerment. And this idea that we first must empower ourselves before we can empower others. Within individuality, there's also this theme of mutation, which is a weird word that human design uses a lot that we don't often use outside of science and whatnot. But individuals are here to mutate. They're here to evolve and to change. And they're designed to be different, weird, unique, and I think very wonderful. Sometimes because of this, it can be quite painful if you have a lot of individuality in you, especially if you are with people that aren't really accepting of your individuality, but you're really designed to be different. Individuals can afford to experiment and try new things. So going back to this idea of mutation, evolution, change, when it's just one individual, if you try something out and it doesn't work, it's like, okay, fair, it didn't work, let's learn something new. But it's not, well, it might be devastating to you personally, but it's not devastating to society, it's not devastating to cultures or to large groups. So the individual, like in a world where we're trying to grow the population or thrive as a population, an individual can afford to experiment, it can afford to mutate, it can afford to be weird, it can afford to try different things. And if it fails, whatever. It's a little bit trickier when larger groups try to do different weird things that we don't know are proven, that we don't know have a set outcome. It's a lot trickier when larger groups do this. And we'll talk about that more in the next 2 days. So that being said, big keynotes of mutation, of change, of being weird, of being different. The mutation or change that the individual discovers, that they execute, that works well for them, is then often brought to the tribe or to the collective, but they're the ones that start this sort of mutation or change or difference. This is also something that's called an auditory circuit. So a lot of people who have a lot of individuality in their design are often auditory learners, or they're really easily influenced by audio. They learn well through audio. They're, affected by sound, and they often are also claircognizant, where this is a lot of circuitry that knows. It doesn't know how it knows. It doesn't know why it knows. It just knows. Okay. So we're going to stop there for the circuitry. Do I want to go? No, we're just going to stop there. We're not going to talk too much about the circuitry. So let me stop sharing my screen. So that's it for the individuality circuitry. Well, I mean, that's really not it, but that's what we're going to talk about today for the individual circuitry. And really what I want to sort of hammer in with this is that you are designed to be different. You are designed to be unique, right? These are all energies that are designed to empower yourself with, to empower other people with. So really this underlying theme of being different, of trying things out, of changing, of evolving, of empowering and being different. You're not here to be like everybody else when you have a lot of individuality, okay? So we're gonna start going through the gates, and we're gonna start with gate 34. So I just wanna show you where it is on the body graph to make it a little bit easier as we're going through things. I don't really wanna share my screen the whole time, so I'm just gonna show it at the beginning to help you see, but gate 34 is in the sacral center, and gate 34 is a gate of power. It is the most powerful gate in human design. And hold on, I just wanna rearrange my screen a little bit right now so I can see everybody and get everything easy to see for me. Okay, cool. I'm good, yes. So it's the most powerful gate in human design, and it really is power in response. Now, not everyone who has this is going to have the sacral center defined, so don't get tied up in the whole response thing. But the idea being that the power here can't be forced. So the power comes through following your strategy and authority with this gate. There's a lot of power here that is unique in a way where this power is designed for you to be the individual, for you to be unique in this world. And interestingly, this is one of the gates of the sacral that's said to be an asexual gate, meaning that often people are too busy for sex. They're too busy for that stuff. They have all this power. They're so busy doing things. They don't have time for this whole like procreation thing. Lisa, we're talking about gate 34. And so with this, it's a busy energy. It's often people who like to multitask. They often have lots of different things on the go all the time, but you want to be aware because often this gate just gets sort of trapped in being busy just to be busy. It likes to be busy. It likes to be doing things all the time. And sometimes that leads to burnout. Sometimes that leads to you just, again, being busy with busy work where it's not stuff that's aligned. It's not stuff that you love. It's not stuff that's related to your purpose or what feels great. So paying attention to like being busy is great. Don't get me wrong, especially if you have this gate, you like being busy, but paying attention to the difference between being busy and following your strategy and authority that allows you to be busy in a way that's aligned and feels good. This is a very independent gate. It's someone that likes to march to the beat of their own drum. And when I talk about gates, the way I'll go through them is I'll probably give a little bit of a briefing and I'll talk about some challenges and I'll talk about the high expression. That's how I like to look at gates. So like I said, with the challenges here, it can get so busy where it just is busy doing nothing, right? It's busy going in the wrong direction. It's busy not even noticing that it isn't fulfilled, that it hates its life because it's just busy doing things all the time. And it uses the busyness sometimes as a distraction to really have an awareness of what's going on. This is an energy that can be somewhat damaging to yourself and your body sometimes if you're using it in a way that you're trying to force, or if you're not following your strategy and authority. It can burn you out quite easily because, again, you're trying to do a million different things all at once. And it can sometimes struggle with this idea of what it means to be powerful and how to use your power, because this is a gate that has a lot of power, but it's power in response. It's not something that's designed to be forced. It's not something that's designed to be wielded over other people. It's you being connected to your own self and going from there. So in the high expression, this is a very powerful energy. It's designed to empower people. You're able to do many projects at once, to get involved with many things at once. You can bring people together in response as well. So again, through following your strategy and authority, you can serve people with your power. And when they respond, they bring people together in a way around sort of transformational areas. So you're good at bringing people together. You're powerful. You can do lots of things at once. You can be really busy. And all of that is going to come out through your strategy and authority. Okay, so now we're on to gate 38. I don't know, I didn't think this out well. This is going to take me way too long to show you all of these on here, but oh well, we're going to do what we can do. Actually, no, we're not going to do gate 38. I lied. We're going to talk about gate 57 because I want to talk about the integration ones first. So gate 57, we are at the gate of intuition. It is in the spleen. So you can see it there over on the spleen on the top side. And gate 57 is very much about intuition. Let me know if you have the gate in the chat. And it's very much of awareness of truth in the now. What is true in the now? Whenever we have splenic gates, it's always about in the now, what is right in the now. And it's very tuned into sound vibrations. Remember, like I said, the individual gates are often very auditory, and it's always in the moment, checking if we're safe or not now. So it's all about survival with the spleen, safety with the spleen. Oh yeah, lots of people with gate 57, cool. So having an awareness and a connection to your intuition, because this is a gift that you have. You might not feel connected to intuition all the time. You might have this gate and be like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Or like, I have a terrible connection to my intuition. Or often what I hear with this is, I have it, but I don't really listen to it. I don't really trust it, right? So you have a big intuitive part of you. All of us do, okay? But especially if you have this gate, it's often clairaudient, meaning that it hears things. So it gets things sort of transmitted that way. And it is really said to be the most sort of intuitive or the most psychic gate in human design. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't be if you don't have this, but it is really something that you have a gift at if you have this in your design. That being said, you could have this in an area that's challenging, which we'll talk about more on Thursday. So you might be designed to have challenges with connecting to your intuition, and that's okay too. There's no like wrongness with it, right? It's just learning how to use the energy. It's really designed, like I said, to keep you safe and healthy. And so some of the challenges with this, all of the spleen gates have fears associated with them. And this one has a fear of the future. So you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And often there's fear associated with that. The biggest way with that is to learn to trust your spleen and to learn to trust your strategy and authority. So it's like, you're not going to know, oh, I don't know if you say Killa's iPad. I don't know. I'm only alive because I listened to it. Yeah, it really is so important, and it will keep you safe. So the more you can get out of the fear of the future and trust yourself, trust your intuition, the more you can trust that the future is not something to be afraid of, because your spleen's going to keep you safe, or this gate's going to keep you safe. You're going to be okay. So fear is a big part. Fear of the future is a big challenge with this. Also, discerning the difference between your intuition and fear. That's another challenge that often is associated with this gate. A lot of times people with this gate are very doubtful. They often have such a strong intuition, but we live in a fairly logical world that doesn't really prize this knowing. It wants to know how we know. It wants us to show our work. We can't just know something. Oh, Sam, hi. I didn't know you're on here. I haven't seen you in a long time. So allowing yourself to build up that trust, which is a whole other conversation, but that can be a challenge with this, is trusting it and doubting yourself. And just because you can't prove something doesn't mean it's not true, and it doesn't mean that it's not useful. But often we think that we need proof. In the high expression of this gate, it can really trust that everything in the future will work out, and they know that they can trust their instincts and their intuitive guidance. Their intuition will help them to know when it's the right time to act. Have their intuition to know what preparations have to be made so that things can unfold with the least amount of resistance. And you can really just have that strong connection to your intuition, to your intuitive gifts. Some people can really have a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Can see into the future to a degree, have like premonitions or something like that. A lot of people, when they're really connected to this energy, is something that works well for them in that sense. Okay, so that's gate 57. If we look at gate 10, this is the gate of self-love. So gate 10 is up over this way. I should have made slides. I thought this would be easier, but anyway, here we are, learning for tomorrow. So that's gate 10. It's off of the G center. It connects with gate 57 sometimes, so you might have that whole channel. And if you have questions, if we can leave those till the end, that would be great, because there's a little too much going on for me to catch everything right now. And we have so many gates to get through, so I don't want to take too much time per gate, but I'm happy to answer things at the end. Okay, so gate 10. I like to look at it as a gate of self-love. Sometimes it's called the gate of behavior, but it's really this idea that is empowered to surrender to living as our authentic selves. It has the ability to know, love, and accept ourselves. And I think this quote comes from the definitive book of human design, that the gate 10's strong emphasis on loving self-acceptance will deeply impact how humanity moves through the 21st century. I think that's really beautiful. And I think the more that we can love ourselves, the more we are accepting of other people, the more peaceful we are. I just think it's a really important aspect. So accepting ourselves and that being a part of us sort of waking up, that being a part of us evolving, right? Of being able to truly love and accept ourselves and be empowered in that. The more self-love you have, the more self-worth you have, and that dictates your behavior, right? This gate is one that dictates behavior a lot. So your self-love is going to literally change the direction of your life. And especially if you have this gate, this is when I think it's Karen Curry that says that this is like the red flag gate, where if you have it, you really want to pay attention to your self-love and that you have a good level of it. Yeah, your direction is really going to be impacted by this, like I said. So big one, if you're not loving yourself, that's really an area I recommend doing whatever work you need to do so you can get to that point, because it changes everything. Challenges with this, with the gate 10, sometimes we have a blaming energy and it can be really repelling. So this gate sometimes likes to blame others. It also is someone who gets blamed for things sometimes, but it also has a victim quality to it. And that's where the blaming thing comes in, where it's like, it's someone else's fault. Like, I'm the victim, poor me. I'm the victim of circumstance. I'm the victim of my parents. I'm the victim of my whatever. And listen, that might be true. Like, bad things happen to people, unfortunately, right? You might legitimately be a victim of the way society is set up, of your family, of something that happened, but identifying as that isn't empowering and isn't empowering for you. And I have this gate in 4 places in my chart that are all challenging. So I really can resonate with this in places in the past. Ooh, let me just mute them on.
How are you?
Why can't I mute them? There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So I can very much resonate with the the victimhood, with the low aspects of this, with really not loving myself. And it can be a very powerful, empowered gate. And it can also be very disempowered, where I used to have this big thing of like, oh, who cares? What's the point? Like, nothing's ever going to change. This is never going to work. So keeping an eye out for that victim mentality. And when you start to like slide into that, or if you find yourself in that, it can also settle really easily and just sort of give up on things. Has a potential for self-loathing as well. And so again, really having that work with self-love is so important with this gate. In the high expression, the gate 10 is empowered to live as itself. It empowers others to love themselves by their being. So the more that you love yourself and can share that, the more you empower others to do the same. So it's all about self-love and self-acceptance. It's about accepting personal responsibility and understanding that you are empowered to behave in the way that's going to give you certain results in your life, right? Can be really transformational and powerful when people get that the self-love and the personal responsibility you have is your sort of piece, right? Again, Kelly, thank you for your questions. I'll get to them at the end. So sorry for ignoring them right now, but I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. Okay, gate 20. I wish this iPad wouldn't keep going to sleep. Anyways, whatever. I just got it. I don't know how to use it. I'm a millennial. I should know these things. Anyways. So that's gate 20. It's off the throat on heading towards the spleen. And the gate 20 is the gate of now. It's very much this idea of clarity in the now, action in the now, everything in the now. And yeah, clarity, understanding, action, all of this is in the now. And this is where a lot of the individuality, most of the individuality gets expressed in human design as well, because it's connected to the throat. The gate 20 is great at seeing talents and skills of other people. It can bring people together. If you have the 2034 channel, it's a channel of charisma. So the 20 is part of that. Having that charisma to draw people in, to see how people come together, to understand the right timing. It's a very unifying energy, or it can be a very unifying energy and an influential energy that can really bring people together towards a common goal that works well for everybody. So it's not like that kind of dictator energy of like, this is what I'm going to do and you're going to follow. It brings people together for this common good that works for everyone. Being the gate of now, being in the moment and learning to be in the moment is something that's really helpful, to be in the now, to not So kind of going into the challenges of this is not futurizing things and getting way out there. It's not living in the past. It's really allowing yourself to be in the now. And, you know, human design kind of has these funny lessons for us, or funny jokes built into the charts, because if you have the 2034 channel, it's like almost two opposite things, where 34 is busy, 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 and 20 is in the now. And not that you have to be still in the now, but having an awareness of the now or presence to the now can be helpful. So with the challenges, trusting in right timing can be challenging with this one sometimes. I think it's challenging for a lot of people in a lot of areas, but with this gate that can be there as well. It feels like you have to take action now, or it can feel like that. Like you need to do things now, like everything has to happen now, when it might not actually be the right time. So again, strategy and authority pieces. Sometimes it can also try to do it all on its own, especially if you have the 3420 channel and you're a manifesting generator. You have a lot of that energy. And so sometimes you try to do it all on your own. And there can be pressure with this channel as well to act when the timing isn't right. And in the high expression, this channel, this gate 20, knows the right time. It knows the right people. It's able to connect with the present moment. It is content with contemplation in the now until the time is right, where it doesn't need to get ahead of itself. It's okay with divine timing, with right timing, whatever it is, with following its strategy and authority. And it really is exceptional at being like a talent scout, at seeing the skills that other people, seeing how other people can be best utilized, like where their talents lie, how they can come together. And the charisma piece of this gate as well, of bringing everybody together, of helping them all move in a direction that's unified together. So this can be a great skill of the gate 20. So I didn't talk about this before, but those 4 gates we just went through, they're individual gates, but they're also in the integration circuitry. I like to look at integration as sort of hyper individuality. We're not going to go into it beyond that, but those 4 gates were a part of that. I don't know how I'm doing for time. I should have looked to see how long it's taking me per gate. I'm probably talking too much, but I like sharing all the stuff. So we're just going to keep going. Okay, so our next gate is going to be gate 25. Let me know if you have gate 25. This is also in the G center. It's on the opposite side of gate 10. So you can see it there. It's kind of moving towards the heart center. So gate 25, this is one of the gates of love in human design, and it is universal love or oneness. It's often called the gate of innocence. Sometimes it's called love of spirit, but it's really this pure, innocent expression of universal love. And one of the ways that Ra explains this gate as well, which I think is really interesting, is that it's a very cool love. So this is universal love, of like love for everything, like oneness. We are all one. Like all of the atoms in me are constantly exchanging with the atoms in the air and the atoms in my water bottle. It's like we're all one. It's really this like universal energy. And because of that, often when it comes to love with this gate, it is very, cool is what I think. I don't know if he says cool or cold. I think cool, but it's like you have so much love for your partner, let's say, but you also have so much love for your guitar, and you have so much love for the new chair that you bought. And it's not like this deep, passionate, romantic, like movie love that you see. It's just a little bit cooler. And there's nothing wrong with you if you have this, because I know some people feel that of like, how come I'm not like more passionate or more whatever? And listen, you might be, depending on what else you have in your chart, but this gate itself expresses love in like a cool kind of way. It is, again, very much associated with spirit, this love of spirit. So having a connection, having a capacity to surrender to source and to trust, they're very much designed to maintain innocence, often through initiations. And they're really empowered to be their fullest self, again, in this idea that we are all one. Everything is one. We're all connected. The challenges with this energy, it can be a bit of a struggle to accept the spiritual nature and to share that part of you with the world. I know some people, especially because the spiritual aspects, you know, it's not about religion. And so sometimes, and if you are religious with this, amazing, beautiful, but it's not always about religion. So a lot of people, well, not always, it just isn't about religion. So sometimes people who have this, if they're not religious people, can have some difficulty developing that connection or feel weird about that connection. So really allowing yourself to create some sort of connection to universe, to oneness, to God, to source, to whatever, however you want to look at it, energy, this like idea of oneness, right? Allowing yourself to surrender to this direction, to not let your ego really get involved and to be really controlling. On the rare occasion, it can show as being like really hateful, being like really anti-love, anti-spirit, anti all this stuff. And while we're on that, I just want to quickly share that gate energy is always a spectrum, right? So we have sort of the extremes of people who are really going to relate to the energy. And then sometimes you're going to come across a gate and you're going to feel like the exact opposite of that energy. Where, so with the challenge, let's say, where it's like someone might have this and they might be the most like hateful person you come across. And you're like, what? How do they have the gate of like innocence or the gate of universal love? This doesn't make any sense. Often it shows as like it's present or the opposite is present. So I find it usually shows as it's there, but sometimes it is the opposite. Like I said, all the energy is a spectrum. So just something to be aware of as you're going through things. If you're like, I don't know if this makes sense, or I don't know if I relate to this, just something to think about. Some of the other challenges with the gate 25 is you can be overly idealistic and not grounded. So very much sort of like up in the ether and a little too, I don't want to say too connected to the love piece, but not connected so much to the ground and what's actually going on. And the innocent nature of this gate sometimes can be taken advantage of by other people. So another challenge, learning to be loved instead of having to do the love. Learning to, be the love, not be loved, but learning to be. So learning to exist in this energy of love instead of having to do things to show love, to create love, to take action on it. It's very much a being energy, especially with the G center gates. In the high expression, these are people that are often powerful healers. Just their energy is healing, that energy of love. They can surrender to the direction of spirit in the high expression and really have these like beautiful lives and experiences, and are often great guides or teachers, especially in the spiritual realm of things, the universal realm of things, you know. And they can be people that are just like beautifully full of love for all the things. So that's gate 25. And now we're going to go to the opposite gate of its electromagnetic, gate 51. So let me just get that up here, the gate of shock or the gate of initiation. So that's just coming at the heart center here. So the gate 25 and the gate 51 make the channel of initiation, but we're going to talk about gate 51 and the gate of shock. So I'm curious if you have this. Please share in the chat or in the Facebook group if you have like shocking experiences to go along with the gate 51, because often people do. So when you have this, you're someone that's designed to be shocking or to initiate others after you've learned lessons through your own sort of initiation. These are people that are often very competitive, although usually you're competitive with yourself. You don't care so much about winning with other people. I don't want to say you don't. This energy doesn't. So you might have other things in your design that makes you care about that, but this energy doesn't. But there's often a drive to be first or to be the best. This is someone that is designed to withstand the shock of initiation. So often these people go through these shocking experiences or these initiations into something that are designed to help you transcend the ego, to help you surrender, to help you to grow. Often this will look like, you know, getting fired, having some sort of an illness, getting into an accident, losing a loved one. They can obviously be smaller shocks as well, but there's often shocks that happen that sort of wake you up, right? That make you present to something that you weren't before. Maybe you were caught up in your bullshit. Something happens and you're like, oh man, this, like, everything in my life just changed in this instant. Sometimes people with this gate can really delight in shocking others or in their own audacity, where it's like they like to be that sort of shocking person and to have these shocking things. And there's the connection with Ra Uruhu. So he has gate 51, I'm pretty sure in his conscious sun. And he was shocked by the voice of initiation or the voice that initiated him into this whole human design thing, right? That was a very shocking experience that very much changed his life. And so when we're looking at, Will says this is accurate, yes. When we're looking at challenges with this, having this gate can be a challenge, right? Because you have these shocking events, you have these events that initiate you, and they might not always be shocking, but they're likely things. You'll have these events that really do like shake up your life or change your life. So learning to deal with these events, learning to surrender, learning to move through them, and learning to not blame yourself, learning to not make it mean something bad or something negative, where it's like, this is something that you are going to experience. So the more like gracefully you can go through this, not that it has to be graceful, but for you to feel it, where it's not this like, I'm wrong, or I did something bad because this happened or caused this to happen. It's just like, this is part of your design, right? So not letting these scenarios shut you down, staying open to life, staying open to the world if you're going through these things. Often there's, challenges with becoming angry, bitter, frustrated, disappointed with your experiences, trying to manipulate and control things so that you don't have these experiences. And it's like, this is beyond your control, right? It's okay. Just like be open. You're on a wild adventure. Enjoy it. They can have rock bottom experiences as well, but they're designed to bounce back. They're designed to have that ego death and that transcendence, that rebirth, right? And often have a just sort of a little bit more of intense experience of life with this gate. Especially if you have the full channel, you'll experience this a little bit more usually. Sorry. You generally experience this more if it's just the gate, not the full channel, in terms of like the shock and whatnot. In the high expression of the gate 51, the gate of shock, you can master and survive your initiation, and then you can initiate others. You can teach others. You can pass your learnings on to others. Your experience is a catalyst for your evolution, but also for the evolution of other people. So you can really be someone that is a catalyst in people's lives. And I hired a coach or joined a coach's program last year. And, I obviously look up everyone's human design before I do things. And I saw that she had the 2551 channel of initiation. And I was like, oh, I am so in. Like, I am sold on this. Wake me up, Yeah. And then also having the high expression of surrendering, right? Surrendering to the direction, surrendering to the ego death, allowing for the transcendence. Okay, so gate 51, we're going to go up to the head center now. I'm sorry if it doesn't feel like I'm making sense. I am making sense in terms of circuitry, but I'm not going to go through all the tiny little details. So we're going up to the top. We're going to gate 61, the gate of inner truth, or the gate of mystery. Some people call it, it's that middle gate there. And so the gate 61 is very much a gate that is curious. It wants to know everything. And it's very much here to share the mutative knowing, the weird knowing, the different knowing, the unique knowing with other people. It really wants to uncover the mysteries. It wants to understand all of like the complexities of the universe. It's often people with gate 61 that likes things like human design or astrology or things that help us to understand people and the universe and the world, because it's always looking to answer the question, why? That's what 61 is always asking. Why? It's like that 4-year-old that like just discovered the word and asks why for everything. And there's no end. there's no final answer to that, right? And that's really the gate 61 energy. It wants to know beyond the normal limits of knowledge. And there's pressure to know this. There's pressure to know the answers. There's pressure to know the ultimate truth. And your knowing is really here to inspire people and to empower others when the timing is right. And some of the challenges when we're looking at this, in the gates of the head are called the gates of madness. And you can drive yourself a little bit mad by wanting to know why. And so there's really a challenge of your relationship to this, of enjoying the sort of never-ending expansion of the universe and everything there is to know, instead of getting crazy obsessive and spending every second of every hour until like your eyes are bleeding because you've gone down a Google rabbit hole for so long. It's like the information is going to be there tomorrow. Okay. You can enjoy it tomorrow. You can expand your knowledge tomorrow. Like there's always more to learn. You don't have to try to cram it all in today. it can be really ungrounded sometimes, where it can be hard to integrate your knowing and these concepts and these things actually into your life or into your body. Sometimes it's full of ideas, but it doesn't really know what to do with them. It doesn't know how to bring them sort of through. Um, and someone said, ouch. Listen, Google's my best friend too. Okay. I go down rabbit holes as well. But just like also get some sleep and like eat and have a social life and enjoy yourself. Just don't only be on Google, just my thought. It's a projected energy. So I'll talk about that a couple of times. When a lot of gates are projected, but when you have these like strange ideas or these like interesting things that that aren't maybe commonplace, these are often best received when people ask for them. So whenever I talk about projected energy, it means it doesn't connect to the throat via a motor. Don't worry about that if you don't know what I'm talking about. But essentially, projected energies work best when other people invite the energy instead of you being like, oh my God, I just went down this crazy rabbit hole and blah, blah, blah. And did you know this? And did you know that? People are like, whoa, okay. So they're a little bit going to be better received in when people invite them out of you. What else do I want to say about this? I'm looking at notes, by the way, because I want to make sure I'm getting through as much as what I can possible. Sometimes this gate as well, in terms of the challenges, it will try to manipulate things to get the knowing. So it feels like there's this end knowing, and it can get, again, kind of obsessive almost with like trying to manipulate things in their life to like figure it out, to know it all. And it's just not going to be. On the flip side, this gate can get really bored, and especially with the sort of mundane aspects of life or what it deems to be mundane. And it can also just completely lose your interest or sense of wonder and like amazement and stuff entirely. Which isn't like a very fun way for this gate to live. So having that healthy sense of curiosity is really important, but also knowing how to calm down your mind, knowing how to relax. Auditory relaxation is really helpful for this. So whether that's silence or whether it's, meditations or binaural beats or solfeggio frequencies, those are all things that can be really helpful, especially for this gate. In the high expression, they can really live in the joy and wonder of the universe and all of the incredible things there are to know. It enjoys the process of thinking and having their inner truth and the mysteries revealed when the time is right. It's like there's these little surprises that are always there for them. It can be very much a visionary energy. It can be empowering, where it has this bigger perspective without needing all the details. So you can have really an empowering visionary quality with this energy. And it can really see the world through this awe, where it's like everything is just beautiful and amazing and incredible and expansive. And I think that's a lovely way to see this. Okay, 61, we're going to go into 24, which is the gate of return or rationalization. So if you're noticing the pattern, this is the opposite of the channel. So this is in the mind center or the ajna up on the top there, gate 24. I don't know if you guys know that meme where it's, what's that guy's name? It's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know that show? And I feel like his name is Dennis. I don't know if that's true. I don't watch this show really. And he's got like this whole crazy board with like all of these pictures and like strings, and he's like losing his mind, going crazy, like obsessing about trying to like solve some kind of crime or like detective. Oh, Charlie, is that what his name is? Yeah, okay, I don't know. I don't watch this show often. I probably haven't seen it in like 6 years. But there's this meme of him like kind of going crazy with like all these different pieces connecting together, like a mad detective, right? That can be the gate 24. So the gate 24 is really this like detective or forensic energy. And it likes to, so I'm kind of starting off with the challenge of the gate 24, but that's one of the challenges where it can be really sort of obsessive, and it constantly returns to the same thing again and again and again and again and again. And on one hand, that's totally great. If you have it sort of under control and in a way that's working for you, you can return and you can get learnings, you can get clues, you can see things that were missed before, but there's certainly a fine line between doing that and being obsessive or really ruminating on things. And this is, again, something like I was talking about, where the gates have given me a lot of peace over some of the negative aspects of myself. I don't have this one, but like if you find yourself that like, oh yeah, I really do ruminate, or I really keep going back to the stuff in the past and I just can't seem to leave stuff alone. Totally normal. This is part of your design. It doesn't mean you always have to be that way, but it's like if that's the way you're experiencing this energy right now, okay, you're fine, you know? Um, so when we look at the channels and the individual circuitry, there's this idea of expansion and contraction, or like one step forward, two steps back. And this is the sort of contraction. So when we looked at the gate 61, that was the expansion of like the expansion of the universe, all these things that I want to see, all of these, um, all of these things to know. So that's the expansion with the 61, and the 22 contracts, where it's like, let's take all of that we just got from the head, let's make sense of it, let's rationalize, let's return so this all makes sense. So it will return kind of again and again until it is sort of made sense and can communicate, and allows you to really move forward from there. We can't force this energy. And that's what I'm talking about, like the mad detective, that's trying to force it. Where it's like, if you can go about your life and you can enjoy this energy, you'll get that like, ooh, did I look at this thing? Maybe I should go back and check that out, as opposed to spending all day long trying to research things or trying to being fixated on things. So in terms of the channel or the challenges, like I said, fixation, there can be a fear of ignorance with this gate. So this fear that you will never know what the answer is, that you won't be able to explain your knowing. So there's a fear there. There's fears associated with all of the gates of the ajna, the spleen, and the emotional solar plexus. So we'll go through those when we're talking about this. Using your mind to make decisions often triggers anxiety with this. So leaning into your strategy and authority. Sometimes it can rationalize things that we don't really want to rationalize, right? So things that come to mind are like abuse or negative treatment, where it's like, this can be the energy of someone who's in an abusive relationship. And they're like, oh yeah, well, they were just having a really bad day. They're going through a rough time. Like this energy can rationalize. So you just want to be mindful that you're not rationalizing things that don't justify rationalization. And it can get stuck in the past. So those are some challenges. In the high expression, this is someone that can be an incredible sort of detective in their energy, where they can review and find clues and really receive these flashes of knowing. And they can rationalize in a way that is helpful. And what I mean by that is you can make sense of past experiences. You can find sort of the blessings in things that have happened, even if they have been really challenging or really painful. And they can be people that are like survivors, to be able to share their journey to help others. So again, that kind of rationalizing, not that this had to happen to me, but this did, so I can find the gift in it. I can find the blessing in it. And it helps to sort of balance that, the expansion, that sort of never ending expansion of the gate 61. This helps to return and focus it a little bit more. So it's more of a focused energy that you have here. Okay. How are we doing so far? We're going to move on to gate 43, which is just below it. So if you keep sort of moving down when you're looking, it is on the other side of the ajna where we are here. So that's the gate 43, the gate of breakthrough. I am not talking about these fast enough. We're going to be here for a while. I'll try to speed it up. Oh, goodness. I was like, yeah, 2 minutes per gate. No problem. I'll be able to do that. My brain wants to share more. That's okay. So the gate 43, we have spontaneous knowing with this gate. So it's kind of like the aha gate, or like the eureka moment gate, where you just get this knowing transmission. Really this idea of breakthrough and insights, and they're often different. We don't have proof to back them up. These are insights that are designed to empower and to make a contribution to yourself and to others. Often these are things that are ahead of our time. So knowing the right time to communicate your insights is really crucial with this, which I'll talk about with the challenges. Like I said, the gates of the ajna have fears. So this one is anxiety or fear that your ideas are too strange or too different. And the truth is that they will be for a lot of people. They will be too weird. They will be too different for a lot of people. Who cares? That's okay. Like, it's okay. People are not going to resonate. People are not going to relate. People are not going to hear you sometimes. It's okay. Doesn't mean anything. And having a goal of that not happening is not going to work. What I do recommend really with this, so let's go into the challenges. Trusting and waiting for right timing to share your insights. So when you have the 4323 channel, it's often nicknamed the freak to genius channel, because the insights from the gate 43 are either genius if it's the right timing, or people think you're a freak for sharing them. They're just like, what the hell is she talking about? So really trusting your intuition, trusting your strategy and authority of when is the right time to share things and who are the right people to share it with. And you're going to get it wrong. You're going to share things with people who are just going to look at you like you're insane. Okay, whatever. So think you're insane. Who cares? Move on. You also are a genius, right? You really have the capacity to have these like genius breakthroughs and these genius insights. And what I really encourage you to get away from is needing to share them immediately or to share them all the time. So keep track of them for yourself, but trusting in the right timing of who and when to share is really powerful with this energy. If you just have the gate and you don't have gate 23 in the full channel, sometimes there can be big challenges or like feeling defeated with not being able to explain your insights, where it's like you have this in your mind and your energy, but like it just won't come out. Like you can't quite find the words. And with that, again, it's okay. Relax. You'll get connected with the gate 23 at one point. Something will help. Something will shift. You don't need to force it. When it's ready to be communicated, it can be. There's also a melancholy associated here with being seen as sort of a freak, right? Of people not understanding you, or you're waiting for this next insight, you're waiting for this next breakthrough, this next genius download, and it's not coming. And you're like, oh my God, it's never going to happen again. I'm never going to get this. That was my last one. My life is over. Like, no, it's not. You're fine. Go take a walk. But you can't force it. You can't force the timing of this. In the high expression, when the timing is right, your insights can be profound and transformative, and they have a really big impact on other people. These are people with brilliant minds that are capable of bringing new understandings and awareness to the world. And you are designed to challenge the way other people think. You're not designed to just be sharing status quo stuff, right? You are on a higher frequency of knowledge, and you gain insights to things that we don't have access to yet. So it's like, you have access to a secret radio station that a lot of the world can't tune into. And so they've never heard the things that you're going to share before, and they might think you're a little bit nuts. Okay. It's okay. Just like being at peace with that. It's okay. Okay. So now we're going to take a little bit of departure from this direction we've been going in, and we're going to head down to the spleen to look at gate 28. No, but let's do gate 38 because I already have that clicked. So down at the bottom there, gate 38, the gate of the fighter is where we're looking at now. So when we're looking at the gate 38, this is a gate of someone who can be very stubborn. I have this in my design, but it's really the design of someone who is here to discover what is worth fighting for. That's a big piece around the fighter. So yes, you're designed to be a fighter, but what is worthwhile? What is worth fighting for? This gate knows that fighting and stubbornness can help overcome. So it's stubbornness to serve, not just to be a jerk, although I use it in both ways probably. Sometimes, this gate uses the adrenaline energy of the root to really push us to find the meaning in life, to find value in life. And it is one of the gates that is a selective listening gate, as I like to call it. Is the gate 43 that as well? I can't remember. Anyways, whatever. We don't need to go through that right now. Yeah, I think so too, right, Sam? So a selective listening in the sense that it's designed to not really hear others well. So you're often accused of not listening or not hearing people, but you're designed that way because it's like your individuality is protecting itself from the influence of others. These are often people that enjoy challenging authority. And often this energy has a lot of determination and drive in business as well, if you find that that is a meaningful pursuit. So you might, in your specific design, find that business isn't meaningful and that's not a valuable thing in life. And so you're probably not going to relate to that. But a lot of people do find business or career or work to be something that creates meaning in life for them. Some of the challenges, this gate can just fight for the sake of fighting. Um, and it often can get into fights or struggles or challenges that aren't correct for it, that don't bring meaning. It just gets into fighting for whatever. It can be overly stubborn. It can get down on itself because it feels like everything is a fight. It feels like everything is hard. It can be argumentative and antagonizing. Not that those are always bad things, but sometimes it can be a little out of place. And in some of the challenging planets, which we'll talk about on Thursday, they can take on that victim energy again of like always feeling like you're fighting everything and everyone. In the high expression, knowing what is worth fighting for in life, knowing what's meaningful, so you can really connect to that energy. You can put the pressure of the root energy behind a cause that you stand for, so you can really take a powerful stand for something. You can have a visionary quality of, again, what is worth fighting for, what is important, and empower other people to see how to best use their energy and what's truly meaningful in life for them as well. I'm going to talk about gate 28 next, but I just want to quickly mention when you see the gate 38 and the gate 39, which we'll talk about in a minute, there's often a relationship there of being sort of an activist, like having that activism energy, which we'll talk about when we talk about the 39. But before we do that, let's go on to gate 38. So gate 28 on the other side there, coming down from the spleen, that's where we're going next. The gate 28 is the gate of the game player. And I did an Instagram post on the channels recently, and someone commented that they didn't like the post and that like they didn't resonate with what I was talking about with the channel, because it's like everyone always talks about video games with this channel and I want like real examples. And I mean fair, you know, if you have this channel and if you're in the struggle of it, I totally can understand. And there's only so much you can write in an Instagram post, you know. So with that being said, if you want to share some of the things that you enjoy challenges with, if you have this gate or if you have the channel, please share them here, share them in the Facebook group, because I think it's so fascinating to share or to see what people, how people relate to this energy. And for example, one of my students, we were talking about this energy, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I guess. And she's previously was I'm probably going to get this wrong, like a male prison psychologist. So like she worked with, you know, incarcerated men, and in her spare time was a cold water rescue diver. Like those are challenging things, you know. These aren't just like, oh, I'm gonna like la 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 whatever. These are challenging things. And so it's really interesting because often people with this gate, they like the challenge, you know. Life is about challenges to them. It's like when they will, I believe this is a Karen Curry example, although I can't remember. But when they're playing instruments in school, you know, when you get to choose an instrument, this gate is like, which one's the hardest? You know, it wants a challenge. It doesn't want to take the easy route. So with this, there's often, like I said, all the gates of the spleen have fears. So here there's a fear that life has no purpose or more meaning, and that you will your life will end before you discover the meaning of it. Sometimes this gate can play games kind of with life and death. It has a risky quality to it. And what I like to talk about with this gate or with the channel is that if life were a video game, and if you got every single gold coin, you killed every bad guy, you did everything on the first try, you would never play that game again, right? It would be boring. It wouldn't be interesting. It wouldn't fulfill you. So it's like you like the challenge, you like the struggle, you're here to play this game. And having that perspective instead of like, oh, everything's bad and hard and wrong and like, oh, is really important to using this energy well. And struggle can also be quite grounding for people who have this. So finding some sort of a hobby that is a bit of a struggle. So it's like a struggle to learn. It's a struggle to figure it out. Can actually be something that's really grounding to intentionally engage in some sort of a struggle. You know, learning an instrument. I don't know, learning anything can be a struggle sometimes, but challenges here. Feeling like life is unfair, that everything is hard for you, getting stuck in a victim mode, feeling really defeated, getting stuck in action because you're afraid of the struggle that's going to potentially come. This can be very dramatic sometimes of like, what's the point? Life has no meaning. You know, it can be a little exasperated in that sense. It can engage in the incorrect struggles as well. So when you're not following your strategy and authority, that's really a big challenge here. It's just getting involved in any and every struggle and having everything be a struggle instead of having the right struggle for you that you're responding to or you're using your strategy and authority for. There are potential issues here with drug and alcohol abuse, and experimenting with the meaning of life or with taking really risky things, especially if you have this in line 3 or line 6. And in the high expression of this energy, finding the fun and struggle, like I said, it's playing a game. You enjoy the challenge. There's a huge feeling of reward for mastering the struggle. And really, the struggle is here to help us understand what is meaningful in life. And your stories and your lessons of overcoming and triumphing is a big part of the human experience and what we're here to learn. So you empower people through this. Okay, we did gate 38, gate 28, let's go to gate 39. So now we're gonna go back to the root on the other side. So here we have the gate 39, the gate of provocation. I think this gate is so fun. It's an energy that used to terrify me. I used to hate being around people that had the gate 39 because my life used to be entirely based on bullshit. And the gate 39 calls people out on their bullshit. And so it was very uncomfortable for me to be around people who would potentially call me on my bullshit when I was trying very hard to make it look like everything was good and together and fine. And I love my husband and my job is great when I was completely miserable and hated everything in my life. So with that being said, the gate of provocation, this gate is the pressure to find passion and spirit in life. And that might be a weird way to put it with pressure. All of the root gates are pressure gates. And so it's pressure as in like a moving you towards something. It's not pressure like a bad thing necessarily. But this is someone that is designed to provoke other people towards spirit awareness, spirit consciousness, and abundance. So the gate 39 connects to the gate 55. So we'll talk about the gate 55 next, but we're moving towards that abundance, that spirit consciousness. That's the purpose of the provoking. It's not just like for shits and giggles, right? Not everyone will like being provoked, but your right people, the people that are correct for you, won't hate it. They might not be super happy about it all the time, but they will appreciate your provoking. They will appreciate you calling me on your bullshit. I kind of wish people did that to me earlier in my life because, like I said, my whole life was built on it for a very long time. It is also one of the 3 selective listening gates. So 38, 43, and 39. These are the selective listening gates, where you're designed to not really be listened or influenced by others to protect your individuality. So if people are always telling you, you don't listen or you don't hear, yep, it's true. Provocation can be harsh, it can be challenging, or it can be kind of lighthearted and teasing. So sometimes people hear provocation. Often people think it has a sexual connotation to it. In human design, it really doesn't so much with this energy, but it's more of like waking people up and pushing them towards something. You can make other people uncomfortable, and you often do. So being really comfortable with making people uncomfortable is a skill for you to have and for you to grow your comfort in, especially if you have an undefined emotional solar plexus. A lot of people who have that open, they're afraid to use this energy, or they don't use it well because they don't want to feel the discomfort of other people. So the more comfortable you can get with other people being uncomfortable, the better it is for you, and the better you can actually help other people grow. Okay, let me go into the challenges of this one because I have a lot of notes here. So, like I said, provocation in itself can be challenging. Whether you are being provoked, which this energy often can experience, or you are provoking other people, sometimes it can be difficult. Like I said, not everyone likes being provoked, right? There's melancholy as a theme here as well. So the ups and downs, all of like the emotional stuff involved. You can trigger a lot of people emotionally. So sometimes that's upsetting. Sometimes it feels like it's your job to fix it, especially depending on what other gates you have in your design. There can be issues here with excess. This is more so with the gate 55, but it can happen here as well. So emotional eating, binging, excess of drugs, hoarding, especially if it's just the gate and not the full channel. And sometimes these people are like crazy. I don't want to say crazy, sorry. Sometimes these people hoard a lot of things, whether it's money, whether it's food, whether it's, like the gate 39s were gate 39s and gate 55s, like they were the ones buying all the toilet paper in 2020, you know? um, not just them, but I think they influenced a lot of people to act that way. And this gate can create a lot of tension in their bodies. So take care of your body. This is part of the incarnation cross of, where did that word just go? You guys know what I'm talking about. I know some of my students know. What incarnation cross is this? Yeah, penetration, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. Is it the cross of tension? That's what I'm thinking, but like you have, anyways, the word's not coming to me. I think it's tension. Yeah, okay, cross of tension. Yeah, sorry, my brain sometimes gets confused. So yeah, especially when you have this in your incarnation cross, if you have the cross of tension, you can often have really tense bodies. So paying attention to that, because your body is your vehicle, it's important to keep your body healthy, to have this all move, to have this all work. So releasing tension in your body is often a challenge here. And also just really learning how to be provocative and how to use that energy well. So it's not about trying, right? I like to remove the idea of trying when it comes to using our gate energy. You don't have to try to be provocative. What I recommend is allowing yourself to remove the barriers to that, where if you previously didn't allow yourself, because it's like, oh, what if this person thinks this of me? What if I make someone feel bad? Like allowing yourself to like lift up the gate you have on the energy more so than trying to be it. In the high expression, you are people that are designed to move us beyond lack, the idea that there isn't enough. You are helping move people towards this idea of spirit consciousness, of waking us up to abundance, to this connection. You can really help people recalibrate their mindsets. You can, wake them up from their bullshit, like I said. You can be an activist with the ability to provoke people to stand up for their truth. And like I said, especially when you have this, the cross of tension has this with the gate 38, the gate 39. You might also have those in your nodes or somewhere else in your design. But when you have those together, it's often a design of an activist, where you have the fighter from the gate 38 and the provocation from the gate 39 of like waking people up, shaking people to see something, knowing what's worth fighting for, right? So this energy can be a really powerful teacher in helping others with uncomfortable lessons to get them back in their flow, back in alignment with their truth, connected to spirit, connected to abundance, connected to consciousness, all of those things. Okay. The next gate is gate 55. So the other part of this channel. This is in the emotional solar plexus. So we're looking there, the gate 55. And the gate 55 is, ooh, Catherine, I like the gate 55.5. That's fun. So the gate 55, this is the gate of abundance. Often, sometimes people call it the gate of spirit. I don't know. There's so many different names for the gates. This is someone that is designed to trust the universe, trust in source, trust in abundance, and take leaps of faith or surrender to flow. So abundance and awareness are of spirit, are emotions in the way that human design looks at it. So it's like this feeling of abundance, this like the emotion, the awareness of it. It's not a thought of abundance, right? Or a thought of spirit consciousness. It's a feeling. This is a moody gate, okay? 39 is too, to a degree, but this is a moody gate. And when it's moody, it needs the right time. If it is not the right time, it's not happening, okay? This isn't the only moody gate. We'll talk about some other ones in a minute, but this is a moody gate. When it wants to be alone, let it be alone. So that's a big part of the moods. It's not necessarily an antisocial gate, like what we're going to talk about coming up next, but it is really moody. So when it wants to be out, it can be out. When it's not feeling it, give it time to be alone, give it time to rest, give it time to go inside. Often it's challenging. Actually, let me just jump to the challenges. Is there anything else I want to say? No, we'll go on to the challenges. So the fear associated here with solar plexus fears is a fear of emptiness. So kind of this idea that there's nothing to be connected to, there's nothing to be passionate about, there's nothing to be excited about. So that fear of emptiness can be associated with this gate. This gate can sometimes be really indecisive or uncertain. They often have a connection to fear consciousness, to lack consciousness. Like I said, also can experience hoarding, emotional eating. Tension can also be a big issue for this gate here. They can be people that are overly dramatic. And sometimes like the drama just truly is what you feel, especially if you have this whole channel. It's a very sort of moody, melancholic channel sometimes. It has big feelings, it has dramatic feelings, right? It's okay. But learning how to use that energy, which I'm trying not to talk about the channels right now, but learning how to be with the drama, learning how to process it, learning how to feel it is really powerful for this energy. Sometimes this energy tries to create abundance through hard work and through like willing it and trying to force things to happen. That's not how this works. Like I said, it's a connection to the feeling, it's a connection to the frequency. And this is designed to take leaps of faith and trust that you will experience the full abundance of life when you surrender and when you trust that abundance comes from source and not from hard work. So that channel or this gate is designed for that. Society, by and large, disagrees. It says you hustle, it says you work hard, it says that that's how these things come to you, that's how abundance comes to you, or it just says that abundance doesn't exist, right? So there's a challenge often there with this gate. And then there's a challenge of just really trusting in the connection to abundance, trusting in spirit, trusting with source, trusting that you are fully supported with this energy. In the high expression, understanding that, or it understands that abundance is not created through hard work. It's through trusting, it's through the feeling, it's through the support that is where this energy really shines. Awareness of spirit as a source of abundance can really shift that, where it's like we are all, going back to this idea of oneness, we're all connected, we're so abundant, we all have so much. And so it's like tuning into that frequency and not forcing the work. This gate is really here to play an important role in bringing this new concept of abundance to the world, this awareness of consciousness, moving away from scarcity and from hard work and this idea that there's not enough. So this is a gate that's, again, helping to wake people up to that abundance, that consciousness that they have. Okay, so that's a gate 55. Next, we're going to talk about the gate 22, the gate of grace. So that's on the other side of the emotional solar plexus heading towards the throat. So up here, that's where we're looking at, gate 22. And when we're looking at gate 22, if you have this gate, I really recommend, hold on, I'm just drink some water. I've been talking for like an hour and a half. If you have this gate, reading the gene keys on the gate 22, I think is a really cool thing to do. It's, I think, probably the longest gene key. So it is many, many, many pages in that book. Actually, I have the ebook, so I have no idea how many pages it is, but it's long, okay? It's far longer than all the other gene keys, it seems. But I think it's worthwhile going into the gene key version of this. If you don't know what gene keys are, Google gene keys, gate 22, and see if you can read this gate, because I think he does a really cool job of pointing out different aspects of gate 22. So gate 22, gate of grace. This is a gate that is designed to share spirit with others. When it's in the right mood, caveat underlined, when it's in the right mood, gate 22 is graceful, it's charming, it's socially open, it's highly attractive to other people. And when it's not, that doesn't exist. It can be very antisocial. It can be the opposite of all of these things. And this gate is one that can be very emotional, especially if you have the 1222 channel. I do, speaking from experience. And you are really here to be the expression of grace, but it really comes from trusting yourself of when you're in the mood, of not forcing yourself. These are people that are often great listeners. They can listen in a way that allows change for others. This is an interesting gate because it helps to bring the individual change to the groups. So it kind of is like a crossover energy in that sense. And this is someone that's really designed to, it's 2222, wherever Nina is. So that's cool. So it is very much about expression of the emotional solar plexus. So art, beauty, grace, charm, music, poetry, all of these really beautiful things. So it really is a way that I look at it is very much the expression of passion. It's the expression of beauty. It can be the expression of love in like romantic love, like desire love, that kind of thing. And really with this energy, the more you allow yourself to do what feels good for you and when it feels good for you, the more grace you exude and the more sort of attractive you are. And when I talk about attractive, I don't mean like look pretty, although that's probably true as well. But like attractive in terms of energy. So that is a really interesting thing with this. It often feels like you have to force yourself to do things when it's not the right time. And this has been such a lesson for me with this gate and this channel, because it's difficult when everyone just kind of expects you to do things, or you said you were going to do something and now it's a time and you are not in the mood and you do not have the energy. And so learning to navigate that as we move into the challenges is definitely one of those. One of the fears of this gate, or the fear of this gate when we're looking at the emotional solar plexus, is the fear of silence, that like no one will listen to you, that there's nothing worthwhile to listen to, is the fear that's really there. It's an emotional energy, so it's moody, it can be social, it can be antisocial. Often this idea that, actually, you know what, I'm gonna skip on that. I don't wanna get into that right now. Sometimes this theme of beauty and grace and charm, it feels like it happens at their own expense. So like they have to do it for other people, like other people have expectations, or that it's detrimental for them in some way. Not waiting for correct timing, speaking over others, speaking when it's not your turn, trying to force your energy, that doesn't work. Not trusting that you're supported by the universe, like trusting, again, you have to hustle, you have to force, you have to do things when you're not in the mood to do them. Shutting down your creativity. Sometimes this energy can have a diva energy to it. So that's not really aligned with the grace aspect. And often this energy, especially I find, well, I mostly work with women. I'm sure men have problems with this as well. But with the people that I work with, there's often a big struggle to the relation to beauty, to inner beauty, to self-love, to acceptance, to their body, to self-esteem. There's often a big struggle with a lot of these. In the high expression, Gate 22 can be very expressive, graceful, charming, beautiful people who really empower others towards that individual expression. They can pursue their passions, they can share this with other people, and they can really use this grace and charm to their advantage for the evolution of everybody. And really know that that connection to like beauty and grace comes from within. So moving on now to the gate 12, which is the other part of this channel. So the gate 12 is the gate of caution, and it's up here in the throat. Actually, let me just get rid of that thing. Boop. So we have it up here in the throat, the gate 12, the gate of caution. And really gate 12 is an articulate energy. It's a gate of articulation. So it is the moody voice from the gate 22 that comes to the throat and is sort of restrained or pulled back by the caution, by that gate 12. That's like, hold up. Do we want to say this? Do we want to do this? Is this the right time? I don't know. And I often think of the gate 12 as like the, you know how people talk about like friend groups and they're like, oh, this person's like the mom of the group kind of, because they're always like worrying and like, oh, I don't know, should we do that? Is this a good idea? Maybe we should. Like, this can be the gate 12 sometimes, where it can be very cautious about things and very restrained sometimes. There's a theme here of shyness and boldness. And so sometimes you're going to be really shy and you're not going to want to talk and you're not going to want to share. And sometimes you are just going to surprise people with these zingers and this like bold aspect of yourself that you have. So it can be fun energy to play with when you understand it. When you have this gate, the tone of your voice is often more powerful than the words that you have. And don't worry about how your voice sounds or like thinking you have a weird voice or like whatever. It's not about that. But the tone of your voice communicates a lot on your behalf when you have this gate, especially. It's the truth for everybody, but more so when you have this. It's very powerful in creating transformation and moving things forward. It is emotional energy, it's romantic, it's poetry, art, it's all of these things. And like I said, it can often come across as worried. Sometimes this gate can be a bit of a dreamer or an idealist, and can have a very expansive imaginations. It is sometimes nicknamed the gate of the prophet because it can be prophetic, or it has the potential to channel, especially if you have it on a completely open throat. So if you just have the gate 12 on an open throat, not in the channel, although anybody can. And it really can connect to higher consciousness. So it's like it just downloads things and is able to articulate them well. The challenges of the gate 12 is allowing time for your message or your art or your expression to mature, allowing the right timing. Sometimes it's really difficult to express yourself when you're in a shy mood, when you're not feeling it. Really understanding right timing with this. Like, right timing is everything with this energy. Trying to force things when you're not in the mood, when it's not the right time, really just isn't going to work. I know I say this all the time, but it's so true. Like, human design has just woken me up so much to right timing. And I feel like the world is such a forceful place of like, you have to do it now and like make things happen. It's so much easier to allow things to happen when the timing is right, you know? Being okay with not articulating and being quiet. So knowing that the right time is going to come for you to share, for you to articulate. You don't have to force things and fill things all the time. Sometimes there's a potential here to procrastinate. So if you were on the call I did with Maria earlier, we talked a little bit about procrastination, but potential to procrastinate because often your possibilities are bigger than your awareness of how to make these possibilities happen. So it's like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to procrastinate because I don't understand how to make this happen. And again, you're not making things happen. Trust in your strategy and authority, things will unfold. In the high expression, this is someone where you can really know the power of your transformative words and connection to divine insights. You can be an incredible wordsmith, a writer, a vocalist, an artist when the timing is right for you to really share these gifts. You can own your passion, your expression, your power. You can know that trust and know that when you're feeling shy, it's just not the right time to share. That's okay. You can really plug into consciousness and download, channel, prophesize, whatever. But plug into that and share that way. And these are often people who are impactful as a stranger of consequence. So this is a term that uses that's in human design sometimes. This idea of like a random stranger that will say something to you or will mention something and will just like, boom, completely change your life. So stranger of consequence, like there's a consequence to you coming across this gate 12 person. Okay. How many do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We're going to go a little bit over time. My apologies, people. If you need to leave, I will be posting the replay and I will do my best to put timestamps of when I talk about what gate in the replay. It might take a couple of hours to get that from the transcripts, but it should be up there eventually. So we are now going to go up. No, Zainab, I don't need a break. I just got to keep going. My manifestor energy is like a freight train, you know. I'm going to collapse probably when I'm done this, but for now I'm all good. Okay, so we're going to start gate 60. So now we're going to go up this central column. So if you look down at the very bottom, gate 60, coming from the root towards the sacral, the gate 60 is the gate of acceptance or the gate of limitation. So really this idea of accepting limitations, accepting what is. It is a mutative energy, but it wants to keep things how they are. So like I was talking about with of the individual circuitry energies, there's a lot of this theme of expansion and contraction, right? So this is a contraction. And the gate 3, which this connects to, is the expansion. So gate 60 is like, we're going to accept what is, we're going to use what we have, we're just going to keep everything the same. We don't really want to change. We don't really want to mutate. We're just going to stay here until the time is right to actually change. So this is an energy that often has, especially if you have the channel, it really has these like bursts of big energy, these bursts of mutation where all of a sudden, like, boom, you get this and like everything changes. This is a gate that really allows pressure to build. So you likely have an experience of pressure if you have this energy. And sometimes people feel really restless from the pressure. They feel really frustrated. They feel angry and often even depressed. So there's depression somewhat associated with the root gates, where it's like this pressure is building. And if it's not released, it can feel a little bit depressive. So with this energy, it's really the acceptance. And the best analogy I've heard from this, I think it was on the Day Luna podcast, but they talk about a bow and arrow. And I think it was the gate, not the channel, but I think this applies either way. So if you imagine a bow and arrow and pulling the bow, pulling the arrow back, clearly I'm not an archer, but pulling it back, The acceptance of the gate 60 is accepting that you need to move back before you go forward. So you need that potential feeling of stagnation. It's okay. So often this energy feels like I need to move forward. I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to do something. It's not happening. What's wrong with me? And it's like, nothing is wrong with you. You're the bow that's being pulled back. The arrow's about to shoot forward. If you just try to, you can't, even if you're trying to throw something, you still have to move it back to throw it forward, right? So this is kind of the idea of this energy, accepting what is, accepting where you are, and trusting that when the time is right, boom, you are going to go forward so fast, quantum leaps, all of those things, right? But being at peace with where you are, with the stillness, with the feeling of that frustration that nothing's happening, things will happen. You just can't control the timing of it. So the challenges here, like I said, the pressure and the melancholy of nothing's happening can create depression. Sometimes it feels like we can't do anything to create the change that we want. Sometimes there's exhaustion here because we're constantly trying to force things. Sometimes with this gate, there's this sort of apathy or disinterest in life. Sometimes we get really fixated on the limitations instead of the transcendence that's possible here. So it really is just this being at peace with where you are, allowing the pressure to build and build and build, knowing that it's going to come together when the time is right, and you're going to have a big move forward, right? This can also, what's the word I'm looking for? Relate to the idea of possessions, of resources in a way, in the sense of accepting what you have to work with, accepting your resources, accepting your skills, accepting what you currently have to work with, right? Of the process. And sometimes when this energy gets enough of the resources or has an abundance of resources, because they're so used to just getting by and to being resourceful and making do with what they have, sometimes they swing to the other side and become really wasteful. Okay. High expression of this. Acceptance of the process, of the waiting, of the pressure, of your ability to transcend limitations when the time is right. Knowing that the transformation is happening, whether you see it or not right now, whether it looks like anything is happening or not right now, the pressure is building, and the pressure is part of that transformation. So it might feel like nothing's happening. It might look like nothing's happening, but something is happening, right? Making the best of what you have in any situation. So being really resourceful, having that level of acceptance is part of this energy. Also being realistic. This energy can be great at just dealing with what is, what's so. It can, like I said, resourceful. It finds what's needed. It finds the good. It finds the blessings. It can focus on what's working. And it can really have a lot of tenacity, as well as being inventive. So taking what's working and allowing something new to be created, and transforming on that. So that's the gate 60. And then when we look at the sacral center, we have gate 3, the gate of ordering. So if you see that there down in the bottom of the sacral center, oh, Catherine, we're similar. I have 3.3, I think it is, in my Jupiter as well. Okay, so gate 3, the gate of ordering. So this is a gate that is designed to create order within this mutation, evolution, transformational energy, right? It takes what it has and it sort of reorders it, rearranges to bring something new. This is an energy that is transformational. These are people that are change makers. You bring new things to the world. And as you transform, you create transformation. So this energy is all about the mutation, all about transformation, and especially around work, because this is a sacral energy, right? Regardless of whether you have the sacral defined or not, there's a lot of transformation here around work. By the way, I just want to say that I'm really enjoying going through all of these because I'm having so many realizations about myself as I talk about all these energies. So this is fun. A good excuse for me to go through all the gates in one go. So yes, all about mutation and transformation. It's the energy of getting organized before you start, having a good foundation, and it is mutative. So it's what you do, it's not what you say. It's not like the gate 12, for example, the gate 43. Did we talk about the gate 23? I think I skipped that one. I don't remember talking about it. I did? Okay, blacked out. I don't know. 23, are you sure? The gate of assimilation? Yeah, I skipped it, right? I don't remember talking about it. Okay. Okay, we'll go back. We'll do this one next. As I was saying, I don't know what I was saying. Oh yeah, that this is a doing mutative energy. So it's like, it's around work, it's around doing, it's around action. And it's not necessarily like the saying of mutation, like the gate 12 might be, like the gate 23 might be, like the gate 20 might be, right? Challenges with this is difficulty at the beginning. Okay, I have an analogy that I thought about this. If you have children around, maybe you want to meet this right now. So my apologies. I think this makes sense. I haven't said it out loud yet. This idea of difficulty at the beginning, okay? If you think of having a partner that you are going to have some adult fun with, I'll try to keep this as PG as possible in case people are listening that maybe don't need this full description. If there's an adult, let's say they're just like very attractive, like conventionally just very good looking, successful, whatever. Often these are people that are not the best at adult fun because there was no difficulty for them in getting to that activity. There was no struggle to that activity. It was just like there was a lineup of people ready and willing to have fun with them, to play games, right? When you have difficulty at the beginning, when there's some sort of struggle, when something doesn't go right, these are often people that become much better at playing these adult games because they've had some sort of struggle. They've had some learning. It's been difficult for them. You know, they've had to learn to communicate. They've had to learn their body. They've had to learn how to be receptive to their partner, how to, do all this stuff. So the difficulty at the beginning serves a purpose, is what I mean by that. And often when it feels difficult, thank you for laughing, Carrie. I appreciate that. Because I'm like, oh God, how is this going to come out? Sometimes I should just keep my mouth shut. But anyway, but the difficulty at the beginning serves a purpose, right? Mutations need to struggle in order to survive. If it's not going to survive the struggle, then it probably isn't worthwhile continuing. So often with this energy, it can feel like things are harder for you, especially when you're getting started. And often, another challenge is really creating a change or your change, the transformation you're here to bring in a way that other people accept. Other people aren't always going to accept it. Taking the time to create order and to make plans, that can often be a challenge. Big challenge for me over here. I just do things and I figure it out as I go. Releasing the old beginnings. So this is all about beginnings. And so it's like releasing the old things that didn't work out, that and moving on, not letting them hold you back of like, oh, I don't want to do this next new thing, right? In some places, some of the challenges with this, it's like almost the flip side. So instead of being mutative, sometimes these people are like irrationally conservative. It doesn't often happen, but it can sometimes. And there can be this really resistant energy towards mutation and change, and impatience. It's a big one. This is an energy, it plants a seed and it wants the tree today. Doesn't work like that. So having patience, and in a way it can work like that. Like this energy very much is an energy of quantum leaps, right? But there are certain limits within our universe that we need to work with. So in the high expression, powerful agents of change, when they learn to trust the right timing in themselves, acceptance and love of the unique individual you're designed to be, integrating the new ways of doing and being. These are often people on the leading edge of consciousness, bringing innovations. One of my friends has this in her conscious son, and I'm just like, yes, you're like this angel alien bringing all these weird new things, and I love it. So very, very much on the leading edge of consciousness. They're willing to transform. They're willing to take these quantum leaps, right? And allowing themselves to transform and share transformation with others, and trust in right timing. So those are the high expressions. Let me go back to gate 23 since I somehow skipped that. I don't know how. Sometimes I just get excited and carried away with things, So gate 23 is up here on the throat, going towards the ajna or the mind. And gate 23 is the gate of assimilation. And the way that I look at gate 23 is this idea that you are really designed to, why can I not find the gate 23 notes? There we go. So this is really the gate that's designed to communicate the insights and be the voice of change. So this energy articulates the insights of the gate 43, right, which downloads them. It doesn't have the insights itself. So often when you have this, you're going to communicate the insights of others, or sorry, if you have this 23 and you don't have the 43, you're often communicating on behalf of someone else. So for example, I have this in my Jupiter, so it's one of the gifts I have in my chart. So I communicate about human design. I teach human design, but human design isn't my idea. I obviously didn't come up with it. I like to put a spin on it and to teach it in a way that I think makes more sense, but it's not mine, right? So when this gate speaks, it knows or has assimilated. So it's put together all the different pieces and it can clearly communicate the insights and the transformational knowing. If you look in some other places of human design, or I think in the I Ching, this is called splitting apart. And so again, this idea of splitting apart, taking the pieces, splitting them apart, rearranging them for awareness, putting them back together so they can be more easily digested. So it's splitting apart for that reason, just in case you're wondering. Sometimes I find the I Ching names to be a little confusing if you don't understand the context. So with the gate 23, when the timing is right and when they're invited, their knowledge and insights can be transformational and genius, right? So this is the other part of the freak to genius channel. There's an acceptance of diversity here. There's an ability to cut through mental intolerance with this energy as well, which I think is really beautiful. Some of the challenges, waiting for the right timing and the invitation to express knowing. Impatience, again, like the gate 3, it wants to communicate the knowing immediately. It doesn't want to wait. There's challenges of not being heard or not being accepted for your communication. It wants to be right at the risk of being heard or understood sometimes. And sometimes it can be a little bit too blunt in their communication. My boyfriend would probably agree with that sometimes. Sometimes I'm a little too blunt, In the high expression, these are people that can be incredibly articulate in terms of sharing new transformational information and insights in a way that's easy to understand. They can be leaders at the forefront of transformation. They can be thought leaders. They are designed to initiate us into a new way of thinking. These are people that value themselves enough and trust the universe to wait for the right time and the right people to communicate with. And they can distinguish what part needs to be communicated and what can sort of be split apart and removed and doesn't need to be there. So that's a gate 23. So my apologies for the short detour we took to the throat. We'll go back now to the sacral, to gate 14 for the gate of power skills. We're almost done, 4 gates left. So the gate 14, power skills. When we're looking at the gate 14, this is a gate that is said to be the luckiest gate in human design, or the most auspicious gate in human design. And it's almost like you have a natural inheritance from the universe. You are designed to work in a way that will bring you resources. So when you follow your strategy and authority, when you are working in response, this is the potential possibility, or you're capable of possessing great wealth and great resources. It doesn't always mean money. This could mean relationships. This could mean property. This could mean food. This could mean whatever resources you need to live out your life path in your direction. Sometimes these people are really incredible with money, and sometimes this money is really challenging for these people. So it's not like it means anything one way or another. It expresses in a lot of different ways. But really the idea here is that you're designed to work in response for resources that are going to support you on your journey in life. So you're designed to have what you need as you're moving forward in your life. Challenges here are learning to respond to the right work, compromising on what right work is for you. So doing work that isn't great, sort of giving your energy to other people, doing things that drains you. There often is a challenge of sort of learning the importance of money. That can be a challenge with this energy as well. Using resources carelessly sometimes can be a challenge here. They're really designed for the direction of your purpose. They're not designed to impress others or to fill a void. And the ability to work for resources to create transformation in the world, not just personal prosperity. So it's not that you can't be wealthy and enjoy wealth yourself, but the whole idea with the wealth of this, with the resources of this, is aligning you for your sort of mission in life. Not about hard work, but having the resources that you need to fulfill your purpose, your direction. In the high expression, when these people master their strategy and authority, you can really find work that is fulfilling and prosperous. So you have the resources for the direction you're going. In the high expression, this is someone that has faith that right work and opportunities will be there for you to respond to. And they can often be teachers about faith and abundance and money when they've mastered the topics themselves. So that's the gate 14. On the other side, we're looking at the gate 2, the receptive. So if you imagine it, the gate 14 is the one that like earns the money. and the gate 2 is the one that receives it. Why won't my iPad unlock? What's going on? I didn't get Siri's talking to me now. Lord, here we go. Okay, so gate 2 coming down off of the G center there. The gate 2 is the gate of the receptive, and the gate 2 is really the most yin, or in another way of looking at it, potentially the most feminine gate in all of human design. So it's very much about receiving, right? The receptive. It is a gate of direction. So it is the visionary or the driver of our direction in life. It is designed to have a direction that will not be changed by others. It is designed to receive the resources that it needs to live out its direction. So again, if you're looking at the channel, the 14 gets the resources, the 2 receives them to live out the direction. It can help others find resources that they need to fulfill their direction and their purpose. It empowers others to get into alignment. It very much is a visionary energy. It can see the bigger picture for a new future. It's good at spending money. It's not always good at making money if you just have the gate on its own. And it really can be devoted to your direction or your calling in life once you've found it. Sometimes it's like you have this map for directions that other people don't have or that other people can't access. Some of the challenges here: potential for spending carelessly without understanding what it actually takes to generate resources. In relationships, sometimes if you have a 2-14 in a relationship channel, the 2 can spend all the money while the 14 is trying to work to earn it. Sometimes this can compromise your path for others, especially when you don't trust that you will be supported in your journey. Learning how to manage resources and not just burn through them can be a challenge for this energy. Being closed off to receiving anything from anyone. Like sometimes these people are anti-receivers, like they refuse to receive anything, they refuse help, they are self-sufficient to a fault, right? In the high expression, these people have an exceptional ability to manage resources. They're designed to be supported with the resources that they need to make a contribution that they're designed to make. They know that they're deserving of everything that it takes. Their direction is right for them and they don't need to change it for others. They empower others to fulfill their unique path, and they can really expand their receptivity. They can be like master receivers and allow increase and trust that you're designed to be supported. So these are people that can be, yeah. Is it a Taurus gate? I don't actually know which zodiac it's in, but very much that energy, right? Wise, they can be wise about resources to fulfill a purpose and help others to use resources effectively to support their life direction and also their contribution to the world. So that's gate 2. We have 2 gates left, gate 1 and gate 8. So gate 1, if we're looking just above that, is in the G center as well. Moving up towards the throat, this is the gate of self-expression. So gate 1 is designed to empower people through authentic self-expression. So like the gate 2 is the most yin gate, this is the most yang gate. And so it's an outgoing, it's an active, it's an expressed or masculine energy. It's very much about direction. So knowing our place in the now, having capacity for creativity. And there's often pressure here to really do something, to make something of yourself. These are people that are designed to unapologetically express the totality of who they are. Right timing is really important here for the individual. So making your contribution is going to happen at the right time with the right audience. It's not something that you can force. This is really just about living your unique life fully in a way that is correct for you and empowering others, being recognized, and letting people see how you live because you'll empower other people that way. These are often very creative people, not necessarily artistic creative, but they absolutely can be. And it really needs to be expressed. This is all about self-expression. It's not about being perfect, but it's expressing all of yourself authentically, totally. And this is often a challenge for a lot of people, right? So when we look at the challenges, the melancholy of the individuality, if they don't know what their contribution is supposed to be, it can be challenging to fully express the totality of who you are. It can be frustrating, wanting to change the world and have this impact, but not know how. There's often this fear that you're going to fail your purpose, trusting in right timing, that their contribution will be made when it's the right time. feeling stuck, dealing with the pressure. All of these things can be big challenges for the gate 1. In the high expression of gate 1, this is very much about knowing the right contribution to make at the right time. These are people that are able to fully, authentically express the fullness and the totality of who they are in a way that empowers other people to also be their unique selves. And their contribution is made to the world through their expression. It knows that their biggest contribution to others is being themselves. So this is such a beautiful gate. I think I attract so many people with this energy. I really feel like I have a little like army gathering of people that are like empowering people to be individuals, which I love so much. Okay, and then our very last gate for today. There's less gates tomorrow. This shouldn't take so long tomorrow. And then maybe I'll split the collective into 2 days. So we're not here for so long. Sorry, everybody. Thanks for being here with me. Okay, so this is the last one, gate 8, the gate of contribution. And this is very much about making a contribution. These are people that are designed to make a contribution. And with the gate 8, it says that I know I can make a difference. I know I can make a contribution. And it's really through example that your contribution makes a difference on all of us. You're really designed to live your unique lifestyle and to empower others through that. That's a big area of where the contribution with this gate comes from. There's often a lot of pressure with this gate to of like figuring out how am I going to make a contribution. So similar to gate 1, how am I going to make a difference? How am I going to do this? And it's really through your being. The more that you can be the contribution, the more that you can be yourself, express yourself, empower other people. That's where your contribution is really going to come to light. These people want to be involved. They don't want to sit on the sidelines, right? They want to be in things. Challenges here, when it's not the full channel, the direction of what the contribution is can be confusing of like, what is my contribution? What is my purpose? What am I doing? Again, it's very much the being and allowing the contribution to come. Waiting for the right time to make your contribution can be challenging, often because of this like drive. You try to force things. Judging yourself for your uniqueness or for not, for allowing yourself to be different, for unique, to have a different path. This can be very impatient. Learning to authentically express yourself can be challenging. Not being connected to your purpose can be challenging. Thinking that you have to do something to live out your purpose instead of accepting that your purpose is just to be, and acting in a way that you think will make the contribution instead of aligning to who you really are and allowing your contribution to come to you through strategy and authority. Also, this can be sort of a martyr where it's like you feel like you need to sacrifice yourself to make a contribution, and that's not necessarily needed. In the high expression, this is the creative role model. You being who you are empowers others to live in a way that they can be who they are, right? So your lifestyle, your way of being is very empowering. You can be exceptional at helping to promote other people and the contributions that they're here to make. You can know that expressing yourself authentically is your life purpose and that you will inspire others to find fulfillment as well. And destiny really tends to click in with this gate when there's alignment. So all of a sudden, it's like the right people are here. It's the right place. It's the right time. Things are happening. Things are working. Things are flowing. Your contribution is really coming to life. In the high expression, you really trust the right timing of the contribution and that it will be made. And you can be a really powerful force who makes a big difference in humanity. So it's a really beautiful energy. Okay, 2 hours. Lord, I did not mean for that to happen. I'm not shocked, I gotta say though. I'm not. I wish I was. I was just like, oh yeah, no problem. 2 minutes per gate, that'll be easy. Thank you all so much for being here. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. I'm probably gonna cut this off after 10 minutes because I've been talking for a long time and I need to do another call tonight. If you wanna hop off, you're more than welcome to. I don't think I see questions. You're welcome. Thank you for all the thanks. I appreciate it. You know, it's so fun to share this. Yes, good use of my gate 23, right? A reading list recommendations. Oh God, sorry. My FaceTime's going off. I will post some recommendations in the Facebook group for books. And yes, this has been so fun. Thank you all for being here. Tomorrow's class will not be so long because there's less tribal gates, so we'll get through them a lot faster. And okay, so Chiron gate. So yes, Chiron, you have the energy of Chiron, but it won't create definition. So it won't create channels. For gate 25, when the high expression is universal love and the low expression is hate, I'm not sure if there's more to that. Do you only exhibit one? No, you can exhibit both of those. You can have high expressions and low expressions kind of all over the place and interchangeably in one minute and the other one the next. Megan, I'm not going to go into line numbers just because that's going to get too much into detail for everything. Yes. Okay. I don't see a lot of questions coming through. So thank you so much for joining, for being here, for sharing your energy. Oh my gosh, there's still 90 of you that have been listening to me for 2 hours. I love you. Thank you. Yes, Megan, the second number is the line. Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand that's what you're asking. So I'll see you tomorrow. The replay will be up soon. Thank you for being here. Tell your friends if they want to come so we can all like nerd out on our gates together and we can understand like, oh, you have this gate. How does this show up? And I have this gate. How does this work for me? And it'll be really fun. Okay. Have a lovely evening, day, whatever it is where you are. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.